Hello, little explorers and curious minds. Welcome to Sleepy Science and Stories, where we dive into amazing facts, thrilling stories, and cool science discoveries. Today, we're talking about something truly inspiring: inventions and the kids who made a big difference with their ideas. Every invention starts with a curious mind wondering how to solve a problem. Did you know that some of the coolest inventions came from kids just like you? That's right. So, get cozy, close your eyes, and let's learn about some young inventors who changed the world with their creativity. What's an invention? Let's start with what an invention is. An invention is something new that didn't exist before, made to help solve a problem or make life easier. Think of things you see every day: light bulbs, cars, computers. Each of these was once just an idea. And thanks to inventors, these ideas turned into real things that we now can't imagine living without. Some inventions are huge, like airplanes, while others are tiny, like a paperclip. But each one started as an idea in someone's mind. And today, I'll tell you about some kids who turned their ideas into real inventions that help people all over the world. Inventor number 1, Chester Greenwood, the ear-muff kit. Our first young inventor was Chester Greenwood. Chester grew up in the late 1800s in a very cold place called Maine in the United States. Winters there were freezing, and Chester hated that his ears got so cold. He tried wearing scarves, but they were uncomfortable. One day, when he was just 15, Chester got an idea. He bent some wire into circles, then had his grandmother sew fur onto the wire loops. When he put them over his ears, he felt much warmer. These were the first earmuffs. Chester's invention became super popular, and by the time he was an adult, he was running a company that made earmuffs for people all over. Thanks to Chester's simple idea, people can keep their ears warm in cold weather. Inventor number 2, Louis Braille, changing lives with the Braille alphabet. Our next story is about Louis Braille, a young boy from France. Louis became blind after an accident when he was just 3 years old. Even though he couldn't see, he was determined to read and write. At that time, there were no books or systems to help blind people read, and Louis knew this had to change. When he was only 12, Louis started working on a new way for blind people to read. He invented a system of raised dots that people could feel with their fingers, called the Braille alphabet. Each pattern of dots represented a letter, allowing blind people to read books by touching the pages. Louis' invention helped millions of people read and learn, opening up new opportunities for blind individuals all around the world. Inventor number 3, Elena Gazeler, making driving safer with a clever idea. Let's talk about a more recent young inventor named Elena Gazeler. Elena noticed that her mom had a hard time seeing cars in her blind spot while driving. Blind spots are areas around a car where drivers can't see other vehicles clearly. These can be dangerous and lead to accidents. Elena came up with an incredible solution. She used a tiny camera to capture what was in the blind spot and projected the image onto the car's windshield, right where the blind spot would be. This allowed drivers to see the hidden areas around the car without turning their head. Alina's invention is an excellent example of how one idea can make the world a safer place. Inventor number 4, Alex Deans, an app for the visually impaired. When Alex Deans was 12 years old, he noticed that a woman who was visually impaired was having trouble crossing the street. He wanted to help people like her move around more easily, so he began working on an invention. Alex taught himself to code and created something called the i8, an app that helps visually impaired people navigate more easily by guiding them around obstacles in the path. The i8 works by detecting objects in front of the person and helping them avoid things they might trip over. Alex's invention showed that with the right mix of curiosity and determination, one person's idea can help many people gain independence and confidence. Inventor 5, Anaya Elik, the power of determination. Not all inventions are objects. Some are ideas that change how people think and act. Anaya Elik is an inspiring young girl who invented her own unique way to write. Anaya was born without hands, but she was determined to learn to write just like everyone else. She developed a way to hold a pencil between her arms and practiced writing every day. At just 9 years old, Anaya won a national handwriting contest, beating out thousands of other kids. Anaya didn't invent a new object, but she invented her own style of writing and inspired people around the world. She shows us that inventions can be anything, from a new gadget to a unique way of doing something. How do inventions start? Now you might be wondering how people come up with inventions. Inventions often start with a simple question: how can I make this better? Inventors are usually curious and observant. They look at everyday problems and try to think of creative ways to solve them. Here are a few tips if you want to invent something. Number 1. Be curious. Ask questions and look at things around you closely. Is there something that could work better? Number 2. Think of a solution. Once you notice a problem, brainstorm ideas for how you might fix it. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Number 3. Experiment. Try out your ideas. Some might not work, and that's okay. Even the greatest inventors faced challenges. And the last one, ask for help. Sometimes inventing can take teamwork. Don't hesitate to ask friends, family, or teachers for advice. Fun facts about famous inventions. Did you know the popsicle was invented by 11-year-old? In 1905, Frank Apperson accidentally left a cup of soda with a steering stick outside on a cold night. The next morning, he found it had frozen into what we know as a popsicle. Sticky notes were actually invented by mistake. Dr. Spencer Silver was trying to create a strong glue, but it turned out weak. His colleague realized this could work for a notepad, and sticky notes were born. The Super Soaker was invented by a NASA engineer named Looney Johnston, who was working on a new water pump. His experiment turned into one of the most popular water toys ever. The future of inventions. Could you be the next inventor? Imagine the inventions of the future. Maybe even once you could invent. The next big idea could come from anyone, including you. Maybe you'll invent a robot that can do chores or a way to make schoolwork easier. Some of the best inventions come from people who notice small problems and think of creative ways to solve them. Remember, every invention starts with a single idea. If you have an idea, write it down, draw a picture of it, or even try building it with help from an adult. You never know, your idea could one day help people all over the world. Experiment. Invent your own solution. Want to try being an inventor? Here is a fun activity. Step 1. Think of a problem or something that could be easier to do. For example, maybe your shoes are hard to keep clean or carrying books is heavy. Step 2. Draw a picture of a tool, gadget, or new way to make that task easier. Step 3. Share your invention with a friend or family member and ask what they think. See if they have any ideas on how to make it even better. This simple experiment can help you start thinking like an inventor. Remember, inventing is about trying new things and improving the world, one idea at a time. And that's the story of some amazing young inventors and the cool inventions they created. I hope you're inspired to think of your own ideas and maybe even invent something that could change the world. Thank you for joining me on Sleepy Science and Stories. Whether it's big or small, every invention makes a difference. And who knows, maybe your idea will be the next big thing. Sweet dreams, and see you next time for another adventure.